Hey everyone, this is Dylan, and today I'm going to be doing my top 10 movies of 2020. So first I want to start off by saying Happy New Year, and unfortunately due to lack of time management and sheer laziness, I wasn't able to get this up before the new year, but I am putting it up now, and then also tomorrow you'll be receiving a top 10 greatest discoveries of 2020. So be on the lookout for that. But before I get started, let's get into a few disclaimers. Of course, I did not watch every single movie that came out in 2020. I actually missed quite a few of the bigger releases this year, especially ones towards the end of this year, so my list might be missing some of those things, and this is all my own opinion, and these are not saying that if this isn't on your list, it's not the end-all be-all of best movie lists or anything like that, but yeah, so let's get into it. So first I want to start off with a few honorable mentions. So the first honorable mention is going to be Books of Blood. Now this was a Hulu original. It was based off of the work of Clive Barker, and it's named after his famous anthology series. So this is like a 3-segment anthology, and one of the segments is completely original, while the other two come from the actual short story called Books of Blood, and the other one, which is On Jerusalem Street. But overall, I really liked this. I did do a review of it, so I'll have a little iCard up to it. The next one I have in my honorable mentions is called Olympic Dreams. Now, this is a real indie movie, and I watched it on Showtime, so if you're looking to watch it, you can watch it on Showtime. And this is a love story that takes place during the Olympics. And if you don't know me, or you haven't been around my channel for very long, which you wouldn't have if you've been around my channel in the last year, but before I was doing thrift hauls and I would find Olympic stuff, and I am a big fan of the Olympics, so as soon as I heard about this movie I was like, oh, I need to check that out. And the catch is that it was all filmed during the 2018 Pyeongchang Olympics in South Korea, and that hooked me, and I just loved this movie. It is, I don't know, it kind of has this found footage-y feel, home footage I should say, not necessarily found footage because that's horror stuff, but it is interesting in that respect. I wasn't sure how I felt about it, but then at the end I was like, you know, this was actually really charming, and I also really enjoyed the behind the scenes look at the Olympics. We don't really see that whole behind the scenes stuff, so I thought that that was actually pretty fun. So the last one that I have on this honorable mentions list is Gretel and Hansel. Now, this didn't make my top 10 because I thought that the story was pretty weak. From a visual and filmmaking lens, I think that this movie exceeded expectations, and I thought that many of the scenes and the look and feel of this movie was really interesting, and I definitely think that people should check it out if they haven't seen it. And I mean, the story isn't bad, but it's basically the story of Gretel and Hansel. There isn't really too much deviation from that. Alright, so now let's get into the top 10. So coming in at number 10, we have Underwater. So I really liked this movie. I did do a review of this one, so you can check my review out if you want a more in-depth look at my opinions, but I really thought that this was an interesting movie. It had done something different with the underwater genre of aquatic horror that I hadn't really seen before, and overall I just thought it was just this real fun movie. So coming in at number 9, we have The Babysitter, Killer Queen, and this is streaming on Netflix. And I liked, this is just one of those super fun movies. The Babysitter was a really fun movie in and of itself, and then the sequel, which I had really no idea that they were making it until it dropped, and I was like, wow, okay. And then I checked it out and I was like, you know, this was pretty much just as fun as the original, and I just really enjoyed it. Coming in at number 8, which was the last movie that I saw in theaters, this is Birds of Prey. So Birds of Prey was one that I knew that I wanted to see. I am a big fan of the DC universe and DC characters, and so I was like, alright, let's see what is going on with this, and Harley Quinn is a pretty fun character. So I was like, you know, I asked my friend to go and he was like, sure. So we went and we just had a real great time. There was like hardly anyone in the theater, and that was kind of disappointing on opening weekend. And I just think that the backlash of this movie kind of came from its marketing campaign, and it was marketed to a very specific audience, and many of the mainstream DC fans would not have enjoyed it based off of the marketing. But I think that the people that actually went and saw it really did enjoy it and had a great time watching it, so I definitely recommend checking that one out if you've never seen it. Coming in at number 7, we have Nocturne. This was one of the films of the Welcome to Blumhouse series, and this one was very interesting. This movie was about competing with a sibling and trying to be perfect in your like chosen field, and how things like that can just really deteriorate your mental well-being and all of that. And I mean, it's very strong Black Swan vibes, and I would definitely recommend checking that one out. It's definitely the best of the Welcome to Blumhouse series, and definitely deserves to be talked about a lot more. Coming in at number 6 is the Mortuary Collection, and this is one of those rare anthology movies that I enjoyed every single segment in this one. The one at the end was a little on the long side, but I enjoyed it nonetheless. And a lot of people are giving hate to the first one, and I thought for being such a short segment, it was, and it plays in with the narrative of the wraparound segment. I thought that it worked well, and for what it was really good. And then I think the star of this one is definitely the second segment, which is a body horror segment revolving a man that gets something inside of him that he does not want. And I'll leave it at that because it's a pretty intense spoiler. Coming in at number 5, we have Color Out of Space. This one was kind of a surprise. So I have a new friend that I met during this last school semester. He was really into Lovecraft, and I had not really experienced much Lovecraft, or at least like outright Lovecraft things, until like this year where I watched like a ton of Lovecraft stuff. But I was like, okay, I have this movie and do you want to watch it? And he was like, sure. And we watched it, and I was pleasantly surprised. It was a mix of The Thing and Annihilation, and The Thing is a really great movie, and I really enjoyed the elements, and it definitely had some like creepy ass scenes in it, and the visuals were stunning, and the acting was really good, so I definitely recommend checking it out. Coming in at number 4, we have the first of 2 Pixar movies on this list. And so this first one is Onward. And Onward was one that just hit right as the quarantine was happening, and then it was shortly put on Disney Plus. And I was going to watch it on Disney Plus. I even started it on Disney Plus and never finished it. I realized that this 4K Target edition of the movie was going on clearance at Targets, so I was like, you know, I'll check this one out. And I checked it out, and this is such a great movie. I mean, I expected nothing less from Pixar, and this is just such a fun movie about siblings and about your relationship with your parents. And it's all done through like this fantasy Dungeon and Dragon-esque game, and it just makes for a fun story. Coming in at number 3, we have the movie Soul, which just released on Disney Plus over Christmas, and this movie was just great. It has so many fun little things in it. I really loved the designs of the Jerrys and how they were like these abstract characters. And then I also really enjoyed the message of this movie. So it's definitely worth checking out. And at number 2, we have The Platform, which was this kind of like surprise drop from Netflix, and a lot of people watched this one, which was really interesting considering that it is a film in Spanish, and I wasn't really 100% sure what I was going to think of it. This movie has the messaging that trickle-down economics doesn't work. It very clearly lays that out and explains that based off of what this movie is about. I mean, I guess you would have to have some sort of prior knowledge of trickle-down economics, but it was very clear that there was a political message with this movie. I definitely think that it resonated a whole lot more this year than maybe if it were released in some off year, like maybe last year or something like that. So I definitely think that you should check this one out. So coming in at number 1, we have what I feel is the best movie that came out this year, and it is The Invisible Man. And this one was just a fun movie. It modernizes this idea of the Invisible Man. It adds this whole kind of like optical pioneer who has designed the suit that allows him to become invisible. And I mean, this is kind of off topic, but the suit kind of freaked me out. I have this memory of a dream that I had, the only dream that I remember ever waking up like kind of screaming at when I was younger, and it was about people who had eyeballs everywhere. And this suit looked like that, except they were like camera lenses. And so that definitely played into me liking this movie a lot more. The scares are really cool. The special effects are really cool. There are some really cool scenes towards the end of the movie where the suit gets damaged and it goes in and out of being visible, and I think that that's really cool. And I definitely really enjoyed this movie, and if you check out one movie from this list, definitely check this one out. But that is it for my top 10 movies of 2020. Definitely let me know in the comments down below what is your top movie of the year, or give me your entire top 10 list. It doesn't really matter. But let me know if you agree with some of the things on my list or if you don't, and that's perfectly fine if you don't. And remember, if you're not already subscribed and you'd like to be, please hit that subscribe button down below and give this video a like if you liked it. Thank you guys for watching and have a great day. Bye.